You're listening to the Safe at Home Security Guide Show, Episode 3. Welcome to the Safe at Home Security Guide Show with Dave, your host. Here you'll discover practical home security tips and information that you can do yourself to help you feel safe at home. Find us online at safeathomesecurityguide.com. Hi, it's Dave here. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Safe at Home Security Guide Show. I hope you're doing well. On this episode of Safe at Home, we'll look at ways you can protect your laptop from being stolen, and perhaps more importantly, how you can protect the information you have on it. This topic is important to me personally because I lost a laptop during the break-in a few months back that inspired me to do this show. And a few years before that, when my old home was broken into, I lost a computer then too. It was a desktop, but some of the things we'll discuss still apply. Now that I'm my own boss because of this show and website, my computers are very valuable to me, so I have to take this topic seriously. I can't afford to lose another computer. Think about what you could stand to lose if your laptop were stolen. You might lose your music collection, emails, your photos and movies. You might lose your financial records. You might have passwords to online banking or other important sites and even account numbers. If it's your work computer, you might have to explain to your boss how you lost not only the computer, but also the work and the sensitive data that was on it. I read not too long ago about a scientist who lost his entire life's work when his computer was stolen. How heartbreaking would that be? Unfortunately, it is a pretty common news story to report that someone lost their laptop with valuable business, customer, government, military, or health information on it. Just last week, not too far from me, a Harvard University scientist lost his laptop with his cancer research data on it from what happens to be my favorite local burrito joint. Laptops make incredibly popular targets for thieves. They're portable, they're valuable, they're in high demand, and they're so tempting. Even if your computer were stolen but you lost no data, just the hassle and costs of replacing the computer should make you think carefully about how you protect it. As an example, after my laptop was stolen, I had police and insurance reports and claims to deal with. Then I had to wait for a claim check to arrive that didn't even come close to paying for what it would take to completely replace what I lost. Then I had to buy the replacement, get it set up, replace my apps, configure them, retrieve data from backups, and so on. Certainly not exhausting work by any means, but it cost me a lot of money, and it was a hassle I'd really prefer to have not gone through. This show is the Safe at Home Security Guide Show, but since it's good to get out of the house once in a while, in this episode with this topic, we'll spend some time out of the house looking at how you can protect your laptop when you're away from home. Here's what I'll call your laptop theft protection checklist. I've broken it down into two sections, preventing theft and preparing for just in case. I'll break down the just in case section into being ready to react quickly to a laptop theft, keeping your data safe, and avoiding data loss. But the topic I want to start with is preventing a theft in the first place. We'll talk about thefts both at and away from home. When you are away from home, but your laptop stays behind, don't leave it sitting out in an obvious place. This is how I lost my laptop recently. It was sitting on the coffee table charging where I had been using it, and I just left it sitting out in the open when I left for a night out. I don't think it was visible from outside, and you definitely don't want it to be, but once the burglar got in, I certainly didn't make it at all difficult for him by leaving it sitting out in the open. He could have been in and out in 60 seconds or less. Now I keep it hidden, well hidden, I'll confidently say. I don't want to say where, but I do have some tips for you. I'm willing to bet even your average burglar is pretty good at knowing where people hide things, so you should count on them knowing what to rummage through. So first, don't hide it any place where they'll already be looking for something else, like jewelry for instance. So don't hide it in or near your dresser. After my recent break-in, one of the places a neighborhood police officer suggested was in a closet but above the door. Not on the top shelf, but actually directly above the door. He suggested several sturdy nails or screws mounted above the door, next to each other in a line, so you could set your laptop to rest on them, leaning up against the interior wall of the closet. That seemed like a decent idea, but the thought of keeping my scratchable, expensive, and fragile laptop resting on nails or screws where it might fall 7 feet to the floor if not balanced correctly didn't seem quite good enough for me. And I'm not sure an insurance policy would even cover the damage in this case. So I have some other suggestions, though if you can find a way to make the officer's suggestion work, I bet no thief would ever find it, and I'd love to hear how you did it. If you have a soft laptop sleeve, consider putting the laptop in the sleeve and hanging the sleeve in a closet, tucked in and hidden amongst your clothes. As long as the sleeve is thin enough to discreetly hang in the closet, it should be pretty safe. Do you have underbed storage? Do you have a bookcase where you could slip the laptop onto a shelf and then conceal it behind books? Do you have a pile of sweaters on a shelf in a closet that you could stick the laptop into the middle or bottom of? Even though such hiding spots will mean you won't be able to charge it while you're gone, I'd much rather have my laptop safe, secure, and maybe not fully charged than have it fully charged but in the hands of some guy running down the street. An alternative to hiding it is to get a reliable laptop security lock and cable. But if you're at home, you'll need to make sure there's something sturdy you can attach the cable to. You don't want it attached to something like a cheap desk that won't hold up when a thief tries to rip it apart to get at the laptop. Still, another alternative is a laptop-sized safe. I stumbled across this type of product online recently. I didn't even know laptop safes existed. Some of them look and act just like hotel room safes. They can be bolted down to a floor, wall joist, a desk, or other furniture. Something like this could be especially handy in dealing with a housemate situation. One of the products I saw was meant for college dorm rooms and could be secured to a loft bed. I'll put links to a couple of these products in the show notes post. I haven't tried them, so I can't personally recommend them just yet, but you can check them out, and I'm going to make myself a note to follow up on this and do the same. Back to the lock and cable idea. If you're willing to carry it with you, it can help you when you're away from home. You can then securely attach it to a railing or a table at a coffee shop or other place where you might be trying to get some work done. But don't think that just because you're not out in the general public that you're immune. A few years ago, the CEO of Qualcomm famously had his laptop stolen from a podium after giving a speech. If you take your laptop to work and leave it sitting out on your desk, lab bench, or shared work area, a cable may come in really handy. I can think back to the last several companies I worked for and the times I brought my personal laptop to work. I did sometimes leave it sitting out on my desk in my cube. Come to think of it, I even remember several times not wanting to leave it sitting out and putting it back into a laptop bag when going out to lunch or something like that, which is definitely a step in the right direction, but if someone had earlier seen it sitting out, or if they just happened to walk by and noticed a laptop bag, they could have made off with it, especially during lunch hour when most offices are pretty empty. I'm not saying my coworkers were likely to steal a laptop, but in a large open building, there's no telling who could have stumbled across it and been tempted. Laptops are great for allowing you to work almost anywhere, but people seem to get pretty casual and unconcerned when they set up shop at a table in a coffee shop, a bookstore, a university library, pubs, or many of the other places people work. I see people leave their laptops sitting on a table when they get up to go to the counter for more coffee or even to use the restroom, when they won't even be able to keep an eye on their laptop. Think about the public and semi-public places you use your laptop. Could someone walk right by your table, pick up the laptop, and quickly take off? A thief could probably be out the door before anyone even knew what was going on, let alone react. Could you chase him down? Would you? If you shouted after him, what do you think the chances would be that he'd still get safely out the door? So when you're working in a public space, try to sit away from aisles, exits, and even large open windows where a thief could reach in, grab the computer, and take off. My favorite coffee shop here in Boston is right on the sidewalk and has a large garage door that's open whenever the weather permits. If you're sitting there next to that door working with your laptop, as I often see people doing, you're inches from a very busy sidewalk. When I'm on the subway with my laptop, even though I keep it in a bag, I'm still careful. I recognize that when a train stops at a station, there's a prime opportunity there at that moment for someone to grab it, run off the train, and leave you wondering what happened. When you're out and about, don't advertise that you have a laptop with you. Put your laptop in a backpack rather than an obvious laptop bag. If you do have a laptop bag or sleeve, hold it securely when walking down the sidewalk or through parking lots. Don't let someone be able to grab it off your shoulder and run. You might consider personalizing your laptop in some very obvious way. There are security stickers or tags and even certain decorative stickers which are designed to be extremely difficult to remove once attached. You might also etch your name into it in some way. Not only is a personalized laptop easier to identify once it's been taken, the personalization may deter its theft in the first place if it's obvious enough to be seen. In other words, a security tag on the underside of a laptop won't deter a thief because he probably won't even see it before he grabs it. It may help you recover it later, but that's another topic. Such personalization may affect resale value or detract from its appeal. I know I'd never apply a permanent or semi-permanent sticker, but plenty of people do. If you're willing to do it, take full advantage of the theft deterrent factor. It should go without saying that a car is not a safe place to leave a laptop, but people still do it. If you're going to leave it in your car while you're out running errands or whatever, at least discreetly put it in the trunk or completely hidden out of sight. And that doesn't mean on the floor instead of on the seat. Too many cars get broken into to make it worth leaving a laptop in your car, especially if there are other reasons why your car might be broken into, such as the type of car, a partially open window, or a GPS system left in view. There are times where I don't want to carry my laptop with me. Sometimes it seems that it would be safer to just leave it in the car than carry it over my shoulder and risk having it be taken from me at a restaurant, for example. But I guess that's where you have to make a judgment call. Even though it's a slight extra hassle, at least use your trunk. And whatever you do, don't leave it sitting out where it could be seen. I mentioned at the top of the show that